paste. Yes, you have my full attention now. So yeah, welcome to today's design session. I'm going to be sharing how to achieve that particular scroll effect. Like I said, this other one I showed, you can see that this one has like a different reveal effect applied to it. Here you don't have like any the image is just like there's a mask over the image that just like reveals the images when you scroll that particular section into view. But for this other one, what it does, you can see there's like this initial color fill on the images that reveals itself, and sorry, that moves away, and then the images come into view. Or this one, the idea here is that the images do not actually go back into hidden mode. So yeah, but for the other one, once you scroll past this section, for this other one, once you scroll past the section, they just go back into like this hidden mode. But it's entirely up to you as a creative to decide what you want to, which of the versions you want to go for in both of these variations. So I'm going to be showing how to do one, and you can apply the logic to the others as well. So let me just allow this person in and it all. So I'm going to be sharing how to achieve this one, and you can. So I think the original idea, I don't want to just jump into starting without actually mentioning where the original idea came from. So someone reached out to me on Twitter and was like, oh, they are trying to like trying to achieve this particular interaction they saw, or this particular animation they saw on another site. I think its site is called simonsneakers.com. I'm going to copy the link and I'm going to paste it in chat in case anyone wants to go through it. So simonsneakers dot something Simon sneakers.com. So it has, once you scroll any image into, you can see that there's this like initial image fill. I don't know if you saw it, but then there was this initial image fill that was over the image, and then the thing just like faded down, so you can see it here as well. So that was what I initially set out to achieve, and I achieved that, and then I went further to start and play around with stuff. So you can see once the image comes into view, there's this image fill that just like fades out to reveal the image in the background. So that was the initial idea for the first version of this. Let me replay it again. Let me see if I can replay it again. So that was where I initially got. Sorry, that was where someone actually reached out to me and said, "Oh, I'm trying to replicate this particular thing." However, they were still trying to like merge it with another animation from another site. I can't really remember the other site again, but yeah, it was from another site as well. That I just combined both ideas to achieve this animation at the end of the day. So this other one was just me trying to still play around and achieve. So I'm just going to show how you can achieve one, and then you can apply the knowledge in achieving the other. So without much ado, I mean, we've already had a lot of ado, but let's get started. So so let me just create a new page, and the first thing I want to do is draw a frame 1440 by 810. If you're not familiar with it, but with this particular thing by now, it's just like my preferred dimension for my frame. So I'm going to create a frame 1440 by 1080. It's in this frame that I'm going to have all my designs displayed inside of. So ideally, once you visit the website, your website is not like it's, I mean, the full website is actually like a really long page, but then you are only seeing like just the area that's inside of your screen. So that's what I'm trying to create here. So I'm trying to like create an area for my screen, so that all the long design is going to be showing like scrolling inside of this confined area. So it's important to create like an area, create a what's it called, a viewport. Yeah, I think that's the proper word, a viewport for your long website design, because ideally the full website does not show. I mean, you can actually make the full website show. Can I see, it doesn't work with this one, but there are sites you can actually make the full thing show, but then it just doesn't really make sense to have that kind of thing in your design. You want to have just a particular section scroll into the viewport area. So that's it. That's the viewport I'm creating. Let me just call it viewport. I think I've always missed out on calling it a proper name. So viewport, and now we're going to start creating like the actual website now. So to create the actual website, the idea of what is happening here really is that I made the images, all these what's it called, I split the images into like sections. So as each section comes into view, the trigger of mouse hover makes the animation on that section apply to the section, and the images play when that section comes into view. So that's really what is happening every time I scroll into view and every time I scroll into a new section. So let me see if I can find that particular part of the design. So this is the design. If I were to come here and just give the sections color, let me just give the color. Okay, let me give this one's red. Let me make this one's a red color. Yeah. So you can see these are sections, although you can't see anything because I mean like I am here, I am making like the default state, which is kind of visually empty and making the default state like be the default what's it called state. But yeah, so ideally once I scroll into the setup is that once my mouse is over this section, which is this particular component here, let it hover, let it what's it called, let the images here reveal to, and let this component change to this component state, change from this default state to this other state. And also the same thing for this one as well, for this section here and this section here and all the sections that stack up to make the complete website. So this image is just like this scroll thing is just like a standalone. So we're going to get to that, all of that in a second. So let's go back to design. So that's really what is happening. All the sections having set so that once the mouse touches any area there in section, it just like triggers the animation to play and the images to reveal. So let's just go to how to create all of that. So even the image that you're seeing inside of here, they are all independent components. You can see image set here. So this is just one component that I used to create like multiple images, and then I can just change image if I so desire. It's just that I was just too lazy to start going through all these images and changing them one by one. But yeah, we're going to get to that, how to do all of that in a moment. So I have created my viewport. The next thing I want to do is to create my image component. So ideally, do I want to create my image component first? I think if I create my image component, I want to create a grid. So I want to create a layers grid. You're going to see the importance of the grid in the moment. The layers grid, I'm just going to like change it to columns, and then I'm going to make the margin, let's say 60, I guess, and then I'm going to make the gutter 40, and then I'm going to make the count. Let's do an even number. Let's do 8. I think 8, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I can have 3 images stacked. So yeah, I have this 8 column grid. I have the count of the 8 column grid. I have the count is 8, the margin is 60, and then the gutter is 40. So I'm just going to like draw one rectangle first to like, and keep in mind we're actually drawing the grid so we can actually use it. So while you're drawing your grid, when you've drawn your grid, try to like zoom in to make sure that the edges of your whatever you're trying to draw, things you are trying to like take a full column, a certain amount of columns, try to make sure that they're actually like touching the edges of the columns. So zoom in and make sure that everything's, because that's the whole point of having a column. You're meant to like split things evenly across. Oh, that doesn't work. It does not divide properly. So let's do 9 instead. So I think 9 column grid. Oh, 9. Let's do 9. Cool. So this is going to take 3. This will take 3. Am I doing this correctly? Yeah, I am. I certainly am. So yeah, each of the images is going to take 3. So I am just going to like start like having like different dimensions for them. So this one, I want this particular image to be like a square. I think 414 by 414. So 414 by 414. This is a square, just to like have a like really nice layout thing where I don't want to like just have like square. It's going to feel kind of boring. So I want to like make the images like different dimensions. So the dimensions, yeah, different aspect ratios. Yeah, I think that's really the proper term. Dimensions still work, but then the rightful one is actually what's it called, aspect ratio. So hide. So yeah, you can see here now this image is like, should I say like a rectangle, long rectangle. It's a portrait. Yeah, that's for portrait. This is a portrait, and then you probably find this is a portrait, but then they don't have like exactly the same dimension. So the whole idea is just to like have like this different varying dimensions in your image, so that you can see that this one is like smaller than the rest. So that there's like this dynamism going on in the layout. So I'm just going to make this one longer. There's really no method to the madness. Just do something that looks good. So this one is a square. Then this one is like a small rectangle, Okay, this is a small rectangle, and this is just going to, let's do this one to go under here. Let's make the spacing from this one 40 as well, so that we have like what's it called, even spacing all around, and like this nice grid thing going on. So this is going there, this is coming here, and spacing from here is 40. But because I've aligned everything to the grid, you're going to see that it's actually 40 from the ones to the side, except this one that's acting a bit of, so I'm just going to stretch it. Okay, I think this one too needs to receive the same treatment, or not. Okay, that's cool, that's okay. So 40, I have like this interesting grid thing going on. It's not perfect, but then I think it's workable. So let's even stretch one down further. It doesn't like need to be perfect, so I have this tag. Another thing I'm going to do, so that I can see the things outside of my viewport, I want to also like turn off clip content from my viewport. so that anything I'm having inside of the viewport, I can see where it's going outside. So I'm also going to make the color of everything, all the items, let's make it red so it's obnoxious and we can see everything. So yeah, you can see like we have this interesting layout thing, image layout thing going on for us here. However, this part feels kind of too boring, so I think I'm going to stretch the image out even longer. Yeah, I think I'm going to stretch the image out even longer, though I don't expect an image to have this kind of, I expect some images to have, I don't expect any image to have this kind of what's it called, aspect ratio. But then let's just do this. Let's do this, and maybe let's shrink this. Sorry, I'm just still trying to like have something decent going on here, even if we're trying to like create a random layout. So copy here, paste on here. So I think this is more feasible. This image aspect ratio looks more feasible, I guess, assume. So yeah, with this done, I want to now go on to just should I group them? Is it group? No, grouping is not the right thing. Grouping is just going to like mess up your design. So I think I'm going to, I think I should group them. Or not group them, I should frame them. I think framing is better, really. So I'm going to frame them. But before I frame them, I want to, instead of framing them, I want to drop them inside of a frame. I think that would be better. So I'm just going to draw a frame again. Draw a frame that's the same dimension as the what's it called, as viewport. So this frame is going to be called section. So I'm going to draw a frame. I'm going to click on A. Is it A? Sorry. Yeah, A for artboard. So yeah, I'm going to draw a frame A. I'm going to make it the same, like I said, the same height and width as the viewport. So this frame now is going to be 1440 by 810 as well, just like the viewport. So I'm going to call this frame section. Okay, so I'm just going to copy all this stuff, copy all these images here. I'm going to cut them, even not even copy. I'm going to select all of them and then cut. Okay, and then cut them. I don't think there's a cut option here, but Control X or Command X, and then click on the section and then paste them there. So they're going to be pasted exactly the same position if you just click on the section and paste it. But then if you go and if you just click on the section and paste it inside, it's going to paste exactly where this one, where they were inside of the original frame. So that's just something to keep in mind. So once that is done, I want to also turn off clip content for this section here, and then I personally want to move things up a bit so that they, like, there's this proper spacing. You can see 60-60 from the side. I also want to make it 60-60 from the top, and then 60 from the top as well. So another thing I want to do, again, I think I want to stagger the animation. I think this might look, I want to stagger the image stacking. So I want to move these ones, I think these ones down a bit, so they don't just have like the same, they don't just have like the same top. Maybe there's some dynamism going on there. So these ones, I want to have this one. Okay, I think I want to move this one down a bit. Move these ones down a bit even further. Layouts is just hard, but yeah, let's just do this. So like this cascading downward effect. So I'm going to still move this one down a bit, and then move this one 40. Keep in mind the spacing between them is 40. So I don't want to just maintain that spacing as well. So I want to also stretch one up a bit. I think that there's really no method to, like I said, there's no method to the size of the boxes. I'm just doing random boxes in here that just seem to like give an interesting layout of some sort. So with this done, keep in mind they're inside of this section. So with this done, I've made a mistake, but no problem, that's fine. We can always backtrack. So with this section done, I want to start creating my image component, because one thing I did for mine, so I can easily change the images in swiftly. I had to like make all these images here as like independent components. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I think I should have done that before trying to do like the layouts, but that's good and fine. It's all good and fine. So I'm going to go to my page 3, and then I'm going to click on the boxes, bring it out, and then here what I'm going to do, I want to start creating my image, the image component. So I have a vision of how it's supposed to work in my head. So I want it to have like this reveal where the image is in the background, and then like there's a mask that just like unveils the image slowly. So what to achieve that, what I want to do is I want to first of all duplicate this rectangle, and I want to select both of them. I want to move this one away. Then this one, I want to call this one mask. Because it's going to serve as a mask. So call that one mask, and then I'm going to call this one rename it to image, or IMG. Let's call it IMG. So let's call it IMG, and I want to call this one mask. So The mask is going to be under the image, because masks are ideally meant to be under a mask. The one that's under is going to become the mask. So ideally, on the layers panel, the mask should be under. If you were to like change this one to black now, black, and then move this one over it, you're going to see that this one that's called image is like blocking the one that's the mask, because the mask is going to be behind it. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind as well while you're trying to prep your stuff for prototyping. So with this done, I want to apply an image here, like a default image. So to apply a default image, just open on Splash as usual. On Splash, I can't spell on Splash again. So on Splash, we're going to open on Splash. Okay, 1 second, let me let the person in. Okay, so I am going to run on Splash, and then I'm going to apply a default image. Okay, default image. I don't want to use the same image I've been using all this while. So let's use this dark themed one. I think dark toned or themed, whichever one works. But yeah, so I want to apply that particular dark themed one to this image as my default image, and then I want to now move the image over the mask, and then I'm going to use like select the mask and the image, and then I'm going to like set it to use as mask. Nothing will happen because the mask and the image are the same height, the same width, so nothing. But then if I were to like move the mask away, I'm moving the mask now. This is the mask I've selected on the layers panel. I'm moving the mask to the side. You can see that it's blocking out that side of the image. And if I were to move it out totally, you'll never see the image again. It will look as if the image. So that's what is happening in this what's it called, in this prototype. That's what is happening here. The images, the masks are out of view, so the images are actually hidden. So when the mask now comes into view, that's when I now hover over it, that's when the masks now actually come into view, and you have this nice looking effect. It's just like what's it called, that's just simple logic that's happening. So with that done, I can do Ctrl Z, so you can come back into view, and then okay, mask. So you see I have a mask group created already. So another thing I want to do, I want to click on the mask group, select everything inside. Okay, nothing is happening. Okay, cool. Okay, I want to now frame them. I want to have them inside of the frame. So I want to select the mask group and then have it as a frame. I think without having it as a frame, I think it's going to work really. I think it can still work. Do I need to have it as a frame? Let's just frame it so I don't run into mistake later. So let's just frame it. Let's frame selection. So frame selection. I'm going to call this one image img frame frame. And then another thing I want to do, because I want to create my components now. This like this, my component setup is actually perfect. It's perfect already. I can create my component. But then the issue I'm going to have is if I want to like use this component, like if I want to use it for like smaller, you see that the image of the aspect ratio of this image is different from this one. So if I just took that component here and just try to like make it into like shrink it to be that size of that image, it's not going to, you can see that image, I'm shrinking the frame, but then the image inside is not shrinking as it should, which even reminds me I should turn on clip content. So I'm going to turn on clip content for this image frame first, and that thing I want to, so that the image can be responsive. I think that's the word. So that the image inside can be responsive, inside of the image frame can be responsive. I want to press enter and then select the mask group and everything inside of it, and set the constraints to scale. So by default it's always top and right. By default anything is top and right, but then if you set it to scale, you see what's going to happen now. If I were to resize the image, you can resize the frame, you can see that the image is actually like resizing as well. So that's what you want to have for the image constraint, so that it can be like very, very dynamic, so you can use it in like different contexts and it works totally fine. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. So once you've done that, just set the constraints, you want to duplicate it, and then in this version you want to go to the mask, go to the one that's written mask, and then move the mask downwards, or you can move it sideways. But then I want the animation. In the animation I want the mask to come from the bottom, or before I even move the mask, so I can see what I'm doing, I want to select the image, and then I want to increase it in size. Like there's no method to the madness, just increase it to like sufficient size, although not too big. Don't scale it up too big like this. This is going out of bounds, but like something like this, I guess, something like this, so that there's like this subtle animation of the mask coming into view, and then the image also shrinking as well, like layering two different animations in your animations or in your prototypes. It just like allows for like something, it allows for like, should I say, like a better animation, a better looking or a better feeling animation. So it just makes sense to like have two animations going on. The image shrinking from here to here, and then the mask going up from bottom to top. So that's just something. So you want to increase the size of the image. No, there's really no size recommendation I have. Just increase it to something that looks okay. And then you want to move the mask downwards. I think what you can even do is that what you can do to make your life easy, just see the height of the mask. You see the height of the mask. 554 is the height of the mask. Control. I'm going to copy the height of the mask. Sorry, the height of the image frame, which is 554. And then I'm going to select the mask and then add it to the height of the. Add it to the Y. The Y is 0, or the Y of the mask. The Y axis of the mask is 0. So I'm just going to add it 554. And you can see that it moved downwards. So it just moved it just jumped the full height of the of the frame and went to the end of it. So that's just something to keep in mind. So you can also like add a distance to it. So I want it to still be farther away from the frame by 30 pixels, because ideally now it's like right at the bottom of where the frame stops. If I were to add like a stroke, so you can see it. Make the stroke. I'm going to make stroke. Let's make it 20. So you can see that where the mask is like right at the bottom of where the frame stops. So I can actually add a distance. To add a distance, instead of like you having to go and press, like start shifting with mouse or anything, or start using keyboard, you can just add a distance and say plus 554 plus 40. So like this, that's moved 40 pixels away from where it stops. So if I measure it, you see it's 40 pixels away from the bottom of the image frame. So that's just something to keep in mind. It's not relevant to this tutorial, but then it's just something like, let's say like a tip and trick for using Figma. So that's just that. So I'm going to remove the stroke now. So like this, now I have this image frame transition into this. I've not done the transition and everything, but then you're going to see I'm going to do all of that. So I'm just going to select both of them, and then I'm going to create a component set. So yeah, after I've done this, important to always name your component states, because currently they're actually the same name. So you're going to have to go inside and then change it. This is default state, and then this is the hover. Should I call it hover state? Let's call it open state. Let's call it open state. So this is the open state, and this is the closed or default state. Let's call it closed state, just so the name is contextual. So closed state, open state, good and fine. So this is meant to move to this, but I am not going to add any animations. Ideally I should have added animations, but then animation through prototype, but I'm not going to do anything because I don't want any animation to actually happen on this stuff. I want the animation to be triggered by the section that it's going to be placed inside of, the section container that it's going to be placed inside of. So I think this can also be in development terms. I think this can be called the container as well. So I want all the image components I'm going to create. They should be, the animation from this to this should be triggered by the animation I'm going to add to the frame. So you're going to see how all of that is going to like come into play as we proceed. So as we progress rather. So I'm going to copy this, the closed frame, because ideally I want to like have the closed frame as my default state, or the default state. Copy the default state, click on Ctrl C to copy it, and then I'm going to come here and paste to replace. So I've pasted to replace there, and then I can also paste to replace here. I can actually paste to replace everything, just paste to replace everything, although I want to have the same dimensions as well. So I'm going to paste to replace. I think this one is the same dimension, so I don't need to adjust that. So here, paste to replace, but then I'm going to reduce the height to, increase the width to 414, and then the height to 414, because I want that to be a square. So you can see it's a square, and the image is going to adjust. If I were to switch to close frame, you can see that the image is a square and it has adjusted accordingly because of all the responsive elements we set at the beginning. So that's just something to keep in mind as well. So I'm going to copy that and also paste it here, paste to replace, and then I think the height of this one is 244. So 244. I should have done this in the beginning, but then I was in a hurry. So 244. I think I want to have the open state there so you can be seeing what I'm doing. So I'm going to paste this one, Ctrl C, Ctrl V here. So the height of this one is 544, 544, 544. Okay. The height of this one is 702. So 702, 702, 702, 702. But yeah, so you can see that the images are adjusting accordingly. So with the way it's set up now, we can actually still change images while we're trying to like when we are trying to implement in implement, like add different images when you're trying to actually implement in design. You can see we can easily change images. So once you have this setup, this layout setup, still keep in mind that I can copy this section. Ideally, I should copy this section and then paste inside of the viewport. I'm just going to write something, draw a rectangle, and then paste to replace, so that the thing can be inside of the viewport. Paste to replace, and then I'm going to align properly. I want to also give the background like an obnoxious color so you can see. So this is the background of the background of the section. I'm going to align here, align to the top as well, so you can see inside of the viewport it's aligned flush perfectly. So I'm using the viewports. I think I want to reduce the color here. I want to use green. I'm using the viewports grid. I'm using the grid applied to the viewport as what I'm aligning my images. So this is why I'm doing this, because I want to actually like create multiple sections. So I want to actually create another section downwards. I'm going to duplicate the section. So click on section here, and then duplicate Ctrl D. So you have two of them now. So I'm going to select both of them, then do Shift A to auto layout. So you can see auto layout just stacking them vertically downwards. So another thing I want to do is to in the auto layout setting, I want to have first. Do I want to have first on top? Ideally, I actually don't want to have color. If I do not have a background color, I will not have had this trouble. So if I were to remove the background color, you can see that the images are like entering, so it feels like it's one section, although this one, like, it's kind of stretching into this section too much. But then that's all good and fine. We can adjust the second section accordingly. So what I will just do is to come to this second section, and then move the while holding a shift and using my arrow keys. I'm going to move it upwards closer to this other one. I probably will have to eyeball, but then if you're doing your personal work, you can actually properly measure things. So keep in mind that this particular image frame I'm adjusting here, it's in the second section 2. Let me call it section 2. So this is section 1, and I think I want to even give them background color, but you know what, that's good and fine. So this image here is in section 2. I'm just adjusting it so it can like look like it's merging into section 1, and then I'm going to adjust section 2, and then these other images, and then move them downwards so like they allow room for that section 1 image to breathe. So this is how I'm just going to create like sections that feel like they are inside of it. They connect to each other. Meanwhile, they are actually not connected to each other. I can even come here and then move this layout here to this side. Keep in mind, all of this movement I'm doing is actually happening in section 2. It's not leaving section 2. So always be sure to check your layers panel and make sure that it's happening inside of this section. It should be happening inside of. So here it's 40. It should be 40. And then this one I'm going to go here just so I can have like a more dynamic layout. So you can just move things around. So I think I'm even jumping the gun. So let's just go back to base on group, and then go back to dealing one section instead. So delete section 2, and then I'm going to take section 1. I'm going to duplicate it, and then what I want to do now is I want to now create a duplicate again. Because I deleted the old one. So I'm just going to click on the section and then click on enter, select all the components, all the image frame components there, and then I'm going to switch their state to close. So like this, I have a section that has like closed, all the images inside of it are closed. So I have another section that all the images inside of the same images inside of there are open, and the images already have a setting that the mask is off, like hidden off screen, and then here it comes into screen. So I'm going to now create this section, select both sections, and then create them as a component set. So like this, I have my section animation properly done. So I'm going to go in and name this one hover state. So let me name this one hover state. This section state, default state. This one hover state. So I'm going to now link both of them through prototype, link both of them, and say that once I hover over this one here, this section here, hover over section while hovering, let it smart animate into this one, because smart animate is what's doing the heavy lifting. So let it smart animate into this one, and then let the duration be 800 milliseconds, and then the easing be ease out. You can use any easing you want, but for some reason I think ease out, the default ease out works just fine. So ease out 800, so good and fine, we're good to go. So I'm going to copy the default state, of this section. Let me call it section 1, because I'm going to create section 2. So I'm going to call it section 1, and then I'm going to paste it here. Okay, no, sorry, I want to guys to replace the viewport. So make sure that you are pasting it to replace the section. So I'm going to paste it to replace the section inside of the viewport. So paste to replace, yeah. So like this, I have the section 1 component inside of my viewport, and I can just create like multiple sections that are just going to stack downwards, stack up downwards, stack up vertically rather, stack up vertically downwards. That's the whole idea. So if I were to place the process like that, it will actually work. So let's play. So you can see how all the images actually come into view, and then like has like this really nice animation to it. So this, like this now, we've actually like been able to like create like a very good template that we're going to replicate across board. So for this section 2, what I'm just going to do for section 2 is that I'm going to, I think I would like the images to come in faster. Is it faster? I think it's fine. We can always tweak the settings later. So I'm going to switch the section state to hover state so I can see the images and use it to visually align stuff. So I want to now duplicate it, and then do that thing I did at the beginning. I'm going to duplicate it. So I have two duplicates. I have section 1. I should actually not call it section 1. Figma is going to put me in trouble by naming them. So I'm going to call it section with 1 n, and then I'm going to call the second one section with 2 n, because Figma is going to keep adding incremental values, and I don't want that. It's going to mess up my design. So I'm going to call this one sections with Z, like triple Z, so I can know that okay, this one is different. Sections is different from section. So yeah, section is the first one, then sections is the other one. So I want to have sections, and then I want to select both of them, and then auto layout, so you can stack them downwards. So I have like this one. I'm going to call it what do I call it? Let me call it section stack. That's like the most generic name ever, but then it does the job. So section stack, and then I'm going to go to the sections. That's the new one I created. That's the sections I created, and then I'm going to detach components, because I want to edit this one now, just like I did before. I want to edit it so I can like create it as a new section of its own. Because if I were to have just this same section duplicated downwards, I feel like it's going to it's going to be monotonous. You can see the what's it called, stacking is just entering into each other, because it's actually the same the same components. So the stacking may not really work properly. So I at least want to have two sections. I at least want to have two different sections that have varying varying image layout, so that it's just look interesting. Because if I were to just be playing this same section after, it's just going to get tiring. Even though I change the image, it's going to get tiring if you keep seeing the same animation as you scroll. It's just going to be tiring. So and it's also going to be like messy, because the images are going to be entering into each other, so you don't want that. So what I want to do for these sections is that I want to detach components, detach instance, and then here now I want to go in and visually move things around to properly place it inside of the design. So I'm going to select the image frame, one of the images, and then move this one here to be closer to this one. I think I'm going to use 30. I'm going to eyeball it, but ideally if I had more time, I'll probably, I can measure it. So I can measure the distance. So I think I need to take out 6, hold control, so 40. And this one I'm going to, I think I want to like place a box version here. Duplicate. So just move things around, like just switch up the layouts in the sections, in the second section or section 2. Switch up the layout just to like kind of match with the first layout, but then also to look different, just so that things are placed them more differently and it has like a more different layout. So I'm going to move this one here. I think it's away from, okay, I think I can measure it, so I need to space it more. Okay, and here I want to have this one here. So I'm just using my mind's eye to just move things around. And so all this I'm editing is happening inside of the second section. I'm like moving things around inside of the second section that I want to use as my section 2. So I'm trying to match the elements to be in line with the elements from section 1, so that it looks like it's one seamless. So like this one, you can't tell that it's actually two sections, because the image actually like stack up and are properly ordered in a manner that it seems like it's just one extending section, but then that's actually not the case. It's actually like multiple sections. So this is what I want to do, and then I want to, in these sections, I want to also here I want to have this image. I think I want to just stretch it down a bit. I can move things, I can make tweaks as I so desire. So I'm going to copy this one here, duplicate, paste it here, this one a bit downwards, and 40. Okay, 40. Okay, I'm going to shrink it a bit. Yeah, so I think this is okay for section. Let's not overload section 2. We have like, I think we have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images inside of section 2. That's sections. So if I take the section 2 out, which is sections, you can see that these are the images inside of section 2. These are the images inside of section 1. It's like a jigsaw puzzle, like if you know jigsaw puzzle. So if I were to put both of them together, you can close together. You can see that it's the content from this one fits perfectly into the second one. So like you won't detect any. These are just like tips and tricks. You don't detect any. It just looks seamless. So with sections created, and me knowing that okay, anyway I put sections and sections together, it's always going to feel like a jigsaw puzzle. Even though I were to go back, Ctrl Z, and then duplicate this section downwards, I think it's not going to really match. It's not going to. Is it going to line up? I don't think it's going to line up sharp. But then I can create like a third one. So like that, just create like sections that like fit into each other like a jigsaw puzzle. That's really the idea. But then I think 2 is fine. 2 is totally fine. So let's just do this. Take sections out and then create it like as a component, just like you did for this other one as well. So I'm going to move sections. I'm going to create sections, another one, and then in this first version here, I'm going to select sections, click enter. And then I'm going to say that I want to switch all the images. Sorry, I'm going to select all the images and then switch it to closed. And then select both of them and then create a component set, just like you did for the first one. So create a component set. And then here, you do the same settings. Okay, you're going to call this one hover. Call this state hover state. And then I'm going to link them together using a prototype. I'm going to link them together. That once I hover by section, it should change. While hovering, it should change on smart animate. Sorry, with using smart animate and ease out as easing, and in the duration of 800 milliseconds to this other one. So like this, I have my prototype. I'm just going to copy these sections now, Ctrl C, and then paste inside of the section stack components. Section stack. What do you call it? Section stack auto layouts group that I have. So I'm just going to change it to hover state. So you can see like I have 2 sections, varying sections now like this. I can create a third section, but then I'm not going to go through all of that stress. And you can actually do that in your time if you want to have multiple sections. But then I think 2 sections is fine. If you have like, I don't expect. Okay, it can actually be maybe for like a photography website. You want to have like multiple, like just this very very long image gallery of some sort. So you can actually create more. But then I think 2 is fine. But let's still go overboard and create a couple of them. So I have sections. I'm going to duplicate them and then I'm going to move them downwards. So I have them interconnecting in this sort of manner. So what I'll just do is just select all the section groups, like section and sections, and then okay, it's not going to work because they don't have the same element. So I'm going to select the section and section, the similar ones. I'm going to select them and then switch the component states to default state so that the stuff are hidden, and then select similar ones, sections and sections, and then switch it to default. I should have given it a better name, but then it's my fault. So yeah, with that done, I can now actually go to my play. I can play, and then I can okay, I've not set up scroll, so I can just click on the viewport to set up scroll because currently it's not scrolling. It's just one section. I can't scroll, so I'm trying to scroll. It's not working. So to make it scroll, what I can just do is just to click on this viewport and then go to prototype mode and then set the overflow to vertical scrolling. So it's going to scroll vertically. You can make it horizontal if you want to like have like a book cover sort of thing. It can be vertical, so it can be horizontal if you want. So but then I want vertical, so I'm just going to scroll vertically. Now you can see once I scroll into the section, the image is like show coming to view. The image coming to view like that, like it just has like this dynamic and very interesting and nice looking smooth scroll effects to it. So I think one thing I still want to do is I want to add more dynamism to the way the image is coming to view. So I think personally I would want to go into this default states. Go to default states. I'm going to go into default states, and then I want to select the all the images and then switch them to closed. Sorry, open. I'm switching them up to open so I can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm going to move them randomly, like move them up and down randomly. Okay, down actually, randomly. Space them out randomly because I want to have more dynamism to the way the thing comes into view. So I'm just going to switch them up a bit. Okay, switch them up a bit. These ones I'm going to move them down a bit, up a bit. Just scatter them just to like have like this nice looking effect. So once I've done that, I actually should do the same thing for this section as well, but then I'm coming to that. So I'm just going to select all the image as well, and then switch the states of the images of the image. Keep in mind that the image components, the image frames are actually like separate components. So I can switch their states manually. So I can come here and then switch the state back to closed, so that it goes back to closed. So let's see the effect it has on our design. So you can see that the images, they actually like this. It just has like I can't explain, but then it starts from the bottom. The animation like starts from the bottom. Why the thing moves up into view. So like there's just like more interesting thing going on rather than just like doing the reveal. Adding like layers and layers of motion into your design, or layers and layers of movement. Let me not say motion of movement into your design. Just like makes the heightens the experience, the emotion experience. Although sometimes it can get too much. But then I don't think this is too much. I think this is just fine. I think this is smooth and it's really nice. So I think let's go with this particular one. I can even make some of them. I think I want to make this one enter this one a bit. Make one enter this one a bit, just to like have some more what's it called, interesting factors of the emotion. So closed and voila. So yeah, you can just play around with yours. You can play around with yours. You can move things, like you can choose to move this one. Let's move this one to the side, like move this one to the side. Although I don't think you're going to have like a clean motion. It's going to feel more scattered now. But then you can move things like into each other like this, like this, like this. So just playing, messing around. But it depends on you. Depends on what you're trying to go for. So you can move things around as you so desire. So on this default state, I'm going to switch them back to closed state. So like this, if I were to hover, you can see that it starts. Like it has like this more interesting factor to it. But then this looks scattered. So it looks scattered because things are entering. It doesn't feel clean again. So I don't think I want to go for. So I'm just going to switch to default, to the previous version I had, where they were in a coming out. I am what's it called, animating a straight line. So I think this works. So I'm going to select them and then switch them to closed state. So I'm going to do the same for this one as well. I'm going to randomize the location or the position of the the Y position of the images of the frames, image frames themselves. So I'm going to move this one down a bit, move it even farther from the source. This one I don't think I want to move it up instead, and then I want to move it closer here. Then this one I want to move it down. Yep. So I think this is cool. I'm going to now select everything, all the images inside of it, and then switch them to closed state. And then like this, you have like a more what's it called, just a nicer looking interaction. I don't know if it's nicer, objectively nicer looking, objectively. So you can play around with them, what's it called, the kind of effects you want to have. However, one thing I wanted to do with mine really was to make it so that once I scroll past the section, the animation only plays when I hover into the section, and when I scroll away, the animation does not, like the image does not disappear. The image actually are still there. So it's left to you to decide what you want to do. But then if you want to do that kind of effect where once I hover over this image, they remain like this, and then if I'm scrolling back up, they don't play again. So I can just switch the animation type from the animation trigger from while hovering to what's it called, mouse enter. So mouse enter makes it so that once it gets to that final state, there's no way for it to get back. While hovering makes it only so that once your mouse cursor is over that particular element, the animation plays, and then once your mouse cursor leaves, the animation reverses back. But then mouse enter makes it so that it goes in, but then it cannot come out again. So that's just one difference. So it depends on you what you're trying to go for. So let's just go for mouse enter so we can see the effect. So let's change it to from while hovering to mouse enter. You can even add, and another good thing about mouse enter is you can add a delay to it. So you can add a delay to it, but then we don't need to add a delay for us because once it's playing instantly. So here, mouse enter, you can see that the image is actually okay. The images play, and then they actually like remain, like they don't leave the view. So like once the user is scrolling past them, scrolling back up, they can still see the what's it called. They see the image that have already been loaded up already. So that's just something I wanted to mention as well. Between mouse enter and while hovering. So it depends on you what you're trying to go for. If you're going for the previous look where they disappear, go for use while hovering as well animation trigger. And then if you want them to stick like they are sticking here, you use your mouse enter trigger. So that's just something I thought to mention. So then to create like this layered, because I think for mine I did like this layered effect where there was like a what's it called, let me refresh, where there was like a layered effect with the text. There was, I think, where is it? So you can see that like it's layered over the text. You can see scroll. Oh, sorry, let me go and revert the settings back to default. Okay, change the color back to fill. Remove fill. Okay, So here you can see there's a scroll that's showing. So but then once I over, you can see that the scroll is being like hidden in some parts, and just like has this like nice layered effect. I did layered thing in my previous tutorial, but then I still want to like do it again because I think it's really a nice thing to do. I'm just going to like type something like a gallery. Let's call this thing gallery. So I'm going to type gallery in the middle here. So I'm going to type this viewport now. I'm going to click text and then type gallery. So the font I'm using is Helvetica Nui and medium width. I'm just going to scale it up to something like this. Oh, just scale it up really. Just type it gallery and use medium width, and then I want to now turn it into like a flatten it into like a vector, because I don't want all the what's it called extra top and bottom spacing that come with text. So I want to be perfectly flush inside of the design. So I'm going to outline stroke. I'm going to flatten. Outline stroke works same, but I'm using proper one because sometimes outline stroke may give you like some unwanted effects. So flatten. So I change to a vector. So like this, now you see that has gotten rid of all the extra top spacing, bottom spacing, and whatnot. So I have this done. I can just copy it, Ctrl X, and then click on viewports, and then paste it in the viewport, and then centralize, align vertical center, align vertical center, align horizontal center. So it's in the middle now. But then I want it bigger, obviously. I don't want it. I actually want it to span like the full duration. So I want to just click on K on my keyboard, or come here, click on the move tool, and then select scale there, and then just scale it up. So it's really big. It's up to you, which depending on what you want to go for, you can choose any size. So it's totally fine. I think the size is fine really. So depending on you can go for any size. So gallery, this is the gallery section. So if I were to open the gallery and I was scrolling, okay, you can see that the gallery is scrolling away, but then I don't want the gallery to scroll as the other elements are scrolling. So I'm just going to go to the go to the prototype setting, and then set the gallery to fixed, stay in place. So it's not going to scroll. But the thing about it's not scrolling is that it's going to be above every other thing. That you can't have that layered effect, because here now you can see that here some of the text, some of the images are over the text, some of them are behind, and then it just has like this nice layered effect. But then here, what we're having here, you just have all the images behind, and I feel like it's kind of too plain. It's kind of too plain to have the images behind it only. I want to have some overlapping in front of it. So to do that, it's just masking techniques. It's just what's it called, hoodwinking, and foolery. So I'm going to create this. I'm going to duplicate this gallery, and then I'm going to go to prototype settings, and then I'm going to set this one to sticky. Not set sticky. Set sticky. Oh no, I don't think I want to set sticky. I want to actually set to sticky, but sticky. I'm trying to like think of another easier method that will not be too confused. But then let's just go to sticky. Right? So I'm going to set it to change from fixed to sticky. But the issue with sticky is that sticky will make it scroll to the top. Like sticky will make it scroll to the top and stick there in here. So it will scroll to the top and then stick where the thing starts. And then so that's not what I want to have. I want to actually have it in the middle. So to make it stick in the middle, I'm going to cheat, not cheat really, but cheat in a creative sense. So I'm going to what do you call it? I'm going to frame it. I'm going to frame the selection of that what's it called, gallery. I'm going to call it just call it gallery. Okay, let's just type the full thing. So I'll not be too lazy. So type the full thing, and then I'm going to increase the height. Sorry, not scale it. I'm going to increase the hold command or hold control, so that the what's it called, hold control and then hold shift. If you don't hold control, it's going to like mess up the position of the text inside. But then if you hold control, you're just only going to scale up the text, increase the height of the frame, and not tamper with the position of the element side of it. So I'm going to hold control and shift since it's in the middle. I want to like scale from both sides. Shift is just to make it scale from both sides, but then control is to make it scale without affecting the elements inside of the middle. If I were to leave, I'm going to let go of control now. I go to see that the text inside is going to like be messed and be moved around. So the control is to make it so that it doesn't, what's it called, the element inside doesn't move, and then the shift is to make it scale from, to make it alternate or option if you're using Mac. So I'm going to scale it, increase the height of the frame to touch the top and bottom. So like this now, it's already like the sticky element. I'm going to change the sticky, go to prototype and set the set the scrolling, the position to sticky. So like this now, it's not going to scroll because ideally the height of the frame is already like it's already the full height of the viewport. So there's no where for it to scroll again up. So it's already sticky as it is. So but then what sticky does is that sticky allows me like move the the layers. In the layers panel, you can see that I have the section stack and then I have the gallery. which is set to sticky, and then I can move the gallery behind the sticky, behind the section stack in the layers panel. So like this now, the layers panel is going to be behind, sorry, the gallery is going to be behind the, behind the section stack. And I can turn this thing, or I can turn the, the fixed gallery off, and you can see that, okay, there's this gallery text that's behind the images. So that's the one that I have set to sticky behind here. The one at the top is there, but then since I have the two now, I can now play around with the masking technique. So like this now, you can see that you won't see anything. It will still have that layer, that effect, because the gallery, the one that's sticky, the one that's set to fix, is still above everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like frame this. I'm going to frame the fixed one, the one that's set to fix. I'm going to frame selection. You can do this in multiple ways, but then this was the way I did it before, and I don't want to have to come up with a new method right now because it may take too long. So I'm going to frame it. I'm going to call this one, just call it gal. Yes, gal. And I'm going to duplicate it. So I'm going to duplicate it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to select the two duplicates of the fixed one, and then I'm going to turn on clip content. So once I turn on clip content, what I want to do now is I want to now start shrinking the height, the width, of playing with the width of the of the frames to mask some of the text. So ideally, if I were to move this thing out, let me move one outside and show you. So if I were to reduce the width, I'm holding control. Keep in mind, if I don't hold control, it's going to mess up the position of the text. So if I were to hold control and then shrink the width of the frame, you can see that I can just leave the G, only the G showing. Now I can make just the gal to be showing. So this is where the masking technique comes in. So what you can do here, once you have duplicate of the G, is that you can just shrink I can just shrink it here so that just the G is showing. But because there's like multiple layers of gallery behind that in the same spot, you won't really tell that anything is really happening, and that's really the point of this whole thing. So in this one, in this one that's above, I'm making just the GA show. Or you know what, let's just make G show, just G. And then for this one that's behind, I'm going to duplicate it again and then reduce the width from this side and just make just the A show, just the A show. No, not the A. I think we should like skip like one letter and then go to the next two. I think to make sense for one L to show, and then for this next one I'm going to just keep skipping one letter and then making the other one show. So I'm only putting E in frame now. So if I were to move all these things outside of screen, you see what I'm doing. So you can see like I have just these things inside of the the viewport. Everything is there, but then I'm shrinking the frame to allow for just one letter to show. So that's what I'm actually doing inside of this place. So I can just duplicate it again and then make increase the width and make just Y show. Though this Y and arrow will be hard because they sort of intersect, but no problem. Let's just do our best to make it here. So it's up to you to decide what you want to do with it. So like this, if I were to go back to my design and hover, you can see that there's like this nice effect. And another thing I want to do, just to still further have to create some, should I say contrast? I don't know what to call it contrast really, but to create some visual stuff, is to select all the ones that are above, all the text that are above, set the color to white, go to selection color, set it to white. So it's white now. And okay, no, not white, sorry, set to white, F. Okay, so they are white. So the next thing I want to do is to change the the blend mode to let's do, I think color burn was what I did. Color burn. Let's see color burn. So hopefully color burn is not doing anything. So let's change to, I think it's color dodge. Let's see color dodge, what color dodge does. So yeah, you can see color dodge, like, yeah, so you can see like color dodge like has a contrasty version. So there's just this nice thing you have going on for the gallery check. So that's just basically everything I think we want to like recreate for this session. I think we're on time today. So if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and ask while we'll still test out the prototype. Yeah, so this is just small detail I forgot to add in the design session. So it's like post design session, but yeah, to change the images, like, because I actually realized that all the images in the sections are actually like just the same thing. So to change the image is actually very, very easy. I have done this particular thing in a previous design session before, which is why I did not even remember that I was supposed to like account for that in this session. So I'm going to just the first section, I'm going to change it to overstate. so I can see all the images. And then I think I want to also like hide all the what's it called, hide all the gallery, so I can have I don't think so. I think it's fine, really. So what I want to do now is that I want to start changing all the images inside of this first frame, and it's very easy to do that. So I want to select the section, which is section, this one that's written, that's called section here, and then I want to select all the images, all the click enter to select every image frame inside, and then I want to also click enter again and then select all the image mask, and then click enter again to select to show me, reveal the actual image, what's it called, the images inside of it. So I want to go inside and start selecting all the layers that are titled img, which is the actual image, not the mask, the one that's written img. So select all of them, and then I want to run on splash. I'm going to run on splash. I'm going to run on splash, run on splash, run on splash, run on splash, and then I want to select interior. I have to do interior. I've been doing interior for a while, so let me do portrait. I think let me do portrait. So yeah, portrait. No, I think I want to use people. I think I want to use more of items. I prefer space. I prefer like architecture and art and the like. So let's do art. I think art is a really nice part. So let's do art. So to change all, I have all the, keep in mind I have all the images, all the image layers selected inside of Figma, instead of one section. It's one section. I can do multiple sections, but then let me do one section. Let's do section by section. So I want to select all. I want to have all the, make sure all the image frames are selected, the actual images are selected, and then I want to, on Mac, I can just like use my two fingers to like click downwards, press down. It's going to just tick one of them. So in my head, how I think it translates to what's it called for Windows users, you right click. So right click should be able to select like one of the images and then select the amount of images that you want to fill. So I think we have how many frames? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. So I'm going to select 5 images. So select 5. So it's going to keep a count here. You can see the count here, and then I'm going to pick this one last. So yeah, I can press insert 5 images. So it's just going to like insert all the 5 images for me. Just give 1 second. It might take a while because network is pretty shitty. Oh, that's a shame. Okay, I think it's going to go fast. So 40%, just give you 1 second, 60. So it's going to change all the image frames. It's going to populate them with randomly. So yeah, you have this, and it's pretty easy. Once you're done, you can press on your keyboard, press shift and return, or shift and enter on Windows. Shift and enter to go back a step on the layers panel. So I can select section now and then select all the image out of it, and then switch back to their closed state. So like that, the images have actually been changed. Even in the closed state, they actually changed. So you can't see that, but then once I switch to prototype mode, it take a while to reflect. I think what's it called, it has not uploaded. Okay, let's see. So it will only work on the section frames. Let's reload tab. Reload tab. Hopefully it loads fast enough for us to see the change affected. Oh boy, now it's not even working. Oh, that's a shame. That's a shame. So let me check what's going on. I think the images have been changed. The image frames have been changed back to closed, but okay, yeah, I should have left them as open like this, and then change the section from hover to default. Yeah, so it was section I was supposed to change, not the image frames to this thing. So yeah, that's something. So you can see that like this, all the images like have been changed, and you can just do the same for the other sections as well. So you can have like multiple images. So with that, I think we've come to the actual end of today's design session. You see how you can create all this stuff with just creating one component and then using that component creatively across different sections. So that's just how the thing is done. If you have any questions while you're trying to replicate this, you can feel free to reach out to me, and I will always be willing to help out as best as I can. End of story. Bye. Super cool.